Reaching the age of 70 feels like stepping into a new chapter of life. It's a chapter filled with calm reflections, lessons learned, and a simpler pace. I no longer go visiting around like I used to, and today, I want to share why that is. It's not about losing interest in catching up with friends or losing the joy of being with family. Instead, it's about how my relationship with time, peace, and the people I love has changed. Let me take you through why I've stepped back from visiting and how that's helped me find true contentment. If you enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss in part 1. 1. A slower rhythm. Feels right. As the years have gone by, I've come to realize that life isn't a race. It's not about being first or getting ahead. It's about enjoying the journey, savoring each moment. At 70, I've learned to slow down. And in doing so, I've discovered a new appreciation for simplicity. My days no longer begin with a list of tasks to be completed or places to go. Instead, I wake up, make a cup of coffee, and sit quietly by my window, watching the sunlight filter through the trees. There's something profound about these quiet moments. They feel like a gift, a beauty that I never truly noticed before. When I was younger, my days were filled with a sense of urgency. There was always somewhere to be, someone to see, something to do. Time felt endless, and my energy was boundless. Now the rhythm of my life has changed. Visiting others, which once felt like a routine part of my existence, now feels like an interruption to the peaceful pace I've come to embrace. It's not that I don't love my friends and family, I do, deeply. But the effort it takes to plan and prepare for a visit, to align schedules and make everything fit, feels at odds with the simplicity that I value now. Life at this stage isn't about doing as much as possible, it's about finding meaning in the moments that I do have. Back when I was younger, I felt obligated to show up. I wanted to be there for every birthday, every dinner, every coffee meetup. It was important to me to be seen, to be involved, to feel like I was part of something larger. But I've come to realize that being present doesn't always mean physically showing up. A heartfelt phone call or a thoughtful letter carries just as much weight as a visit, sometimes even more. These quieter forms of connection allow me to stay close to those I love without disrupting the gentle rhythm of my days. I've found that there is a certain peace that comes from no longer rushing. The most precious moments in life often happen in stillness. Watching the light change as the day moves on, listening to the wind rustle through the trees, feeling the warmth of familiar surroundings. If I were always on the move, I'd miss these moments. I've come to understand that visiting others can sometimes feel like stepping back into a busier, more demanding world. A world where schedules need to align and there's little space to simply be. At 70, I no longer feel the need to keep up with that kind of pace. Instead, I choose to stay where life feels calm, where there is space to breathe, to think, to be. There's a kind of wisdom that comes with age, a realization that not every invitation needs to be accepted, and not every moment needs to be filled with activity. I've let go of the guilt that used to come with declining a visit. It's not about being uncaring. It's about respecting my own limits, about choosing a life that feels genuine and true to me. This isn't a withdrawal from the world. It's an intentional decision to engage with it on my own terms, to be present in ways that align with the person I am today. Sometimes, I look back and think about all the time I spent chasing moments, chasing people, chasing the next thing on the horizon. There was always a sense that time was slipping away, that there was never enough of it. But now I realize that by slowing down, time seems to expand. In those quiet moments, there's no urgency, no rush, just the beauty of being here. Now, the choice to visit less isn't about isolation, it's about presence. It's about being fully alive in the spaces I've created for myself. Life at 70 has taught me that true joy often comes not from doing, but from simply being, and that, to me, feels just right. 2. Energy is precious. One of the undeniable truths of getting older is that energy, once abundant, has become a precious resource. It's not something I used to think much about. In my younger days, I could fill my schedule with errands, visits, late-night gatherings, and still wake up the next morning ready to go again. But now, at 70, I make choices with my energy that are more deliberate, more intentional. These days, when I wake up, I don't rush to fill my day. I listen to my body. There are days when I feel strong and eager, ready to go for a walk or to spend an hour catching up on the phone with a loved one. But there are also days when the thought of leaving the house feels overwhelming, and I've learned that that's okay. I don't fight against these feelings. I honor them. Visiting someone, even someone I care deeply about, often requires energy that I simply don't have. It's not just the physical act of going from one place to another. It's the emotional energy needed to fully engage, to be present, to listen deeply. I don't want to be somewhere, only to feel too tired to truly enjoy it. I'd rather use my energy for the things that bring me true joy. Whether it's a meaningful conversation with a grandchild or a quiet afternoon lost in a book, I've become more selective about how I spend my time. It isn't about being selfish, it's about recognizing that my time and energy are finite, and I want to use them wisely. I've chosen to focus on the relationships and activities that enrich my life, rather than scattering my energy across countless interactions. By being more mindful of where my energy goes, I've found a deeper sense of peace. I'm no longer trying to be everything to everyone. Instead, I'm choosing to be fully present in the connections and moments that I do have, and that, to me, feels like the best use of my energy. Part 2. 3. Modern social expectations feel different. The way people socialize today isn't what it used to be. I often find myself thinking back to a time when visiting someone was a simple, unplanned gesture. Back then, if you wanted to see someone, you just showed up at their door. Maybe you brought a plate of cookies or just a warm smile, and they welcomed you in without any hesitation. There was no need for a formal invitation or an advance notice. It was about connecting, not about appearances. But now, things feel different. Visiting has become a planned event, something that requires coordination, scheduling, and, at times, even a little rehearsal. It feels like there's a pressure to make everything look perfect. The house must be spotless, there needs to be a meal prepared, you have to look a certain way. It's almost like putting on a performance, and that pressure can take away from the joy of just being with others. I don't want to feel like I need to play a role when I'm with the people I care about. I want to feel comfortable, relaxed, and at ease. Social gatherings have changed too. Conversations feel faster, as if everyone is trying to fit their stories into a limited window of time. People seem more distracted, their attention pulled in 100 different directions. I miss the slow, meaningful exchanges that we used to have. Those times when we could sit together without any distractions and truly listen to each other. I yearn for the simplicity of the past when connecting with others was about being fully present, not about rushing through moments. Another thing I've noticed is that many homes today aren't designed for people like me. Stairs that are difficult to navigate, chairs that are too low, loud and bustling environments. These things make visiting more challenging than it used to be. I find myself worrying about whether I'll be comfortable or if I'll need help getting around. And these worries can overshadow the joy of the visit itself. It's not that I don't value connection. I do. Deeply. But I've started to seek out new ways of connecting that feel more aligned with where I am in life. A handwritten letter, a phone call, even a video chat. These quieter, more intimate forms of connection allow me to stay close to the people I love without the added stress of today's social expectations. They feel truer to who I am now, and they've become a cornerstone of how I maintain my relationships. The world may have changed, but I've learned to adapt in ways that preserve my sense of peace and authenticity. I've let go of the need to keep up with modern social norms and instead focus on creating connections that feel meaningful and real. After all, it's not about how we connect, it's about the love and care we share in the process, and that is what truly matters. 4. The comfort of my own space. Home has taken on a new meaning for me in these later years. It's no longer just a place where I live. It's a sanctuary, a space where I find comfort, familiarity, and peace. As I've gotten older, I've come to understand that no matter how warm or welcoming someone else's home may be, it can never truly replace the comfort of my own. Every corner of my home holds memories. Each object has a story, each room a piece of my life. My favorite chair by the window is more than just a piece of furniture. It's a place where I feel grounded, where I can sit and watch the world go by, knowing that I am exactly where I belong. The smell of my kitchen, the sound of the floorboards creaking, the way the sunlight filters through in the late afternoon. All of these things bring me a sense of belonging, that I can't find anywhere else. My home is where I fit, where I can truly be myself. Leaving this sanctuary, even to visit someone I love, feels more daunting now than it used to. Their home may be lovely, but it's unfamiliar. Will their chairs be comfortable? Will I have to navigate stairs or awkward spaces? These questions linger in my mind, and more often than not, the comfort of my own space outweighs the desire to visit. It's not that I don't care about others, it's that my home has become my retreat, my safe place where I can fully relax. The world outside feels busy, noisy, and unpredictable, but within these walls, I find peace. It's a kind of contentment that's hard to describe but easy to feel. My home is where I'm happiest, and I've learned to honor that. It's where I can create my own rhythm, where I can choose how to spend my time without any pressures or expectations. And in choosing to stay here, I've found a sense of fulfillment that I wouldn't trade for anything. 5. Physical challenges. As much as I'd like to ignore it, my body doesn't move with the same ease it once did. I feel it in my knees when I climb stairs, in my back when I sit for too long, and in the way I tire more quickly than I used to. These changes have been gradual, but over time, they've reshaped how I live my life and how I think about visiting others. Every outing now comes with a checklist. Do I have enough energy for this? Will I be comfortable? Will I need help getting around? These aren't minor considerations. They're real, tangible barriers that make visiting more complicated than it once was. Many homes aren't designed with older adults in mind. Stairs can feel like mountains, soft couches can be difficult to get out of, and noisy, crowded spaces can make me feel unsteady. It's not just about convenience, it's about safety, and it's about dignity. I don't want to feel like a burden, constantly asking for help or accommodations. And so, more often than not, I choose the path of least resistance, staying home. It's not always easy to accept these limitations. There's still a part of me that feels young, that wants to move freely and do all the things I once did. But I've learned to be gentle with myself, to acknowledge that my body is doing the best it can, even if it's not as strong or agile as it used to be. By accepting these changes, I found new ways to live fully within the bounds of what I can do. Staying home doesn't mean giving up on relationships or experiences. It just means approaching them differently. I've come to appreciate the small gestures that make life beautiful. A phone call from a friend, a quiet moment in my garden, or a handwritten note sent to someone I care about. These things may seem small, but they carry immense meaning. They remind me that connection isn't about where we are. It's about the love and care we share, no matter the distance. 6. Prioritizing relationships that matter. One of the most valuable lessons I've learned as I've grown older is that not all relationships are created equal. When I was younger, I felt a responsibility to keep every connection alive, no matter the cost. I wanted to be there for everyone, to nurture every friendship, every acquaintance. But as time has passed, I've come to realize that some connections bring me joy and energy, while others seem to drain me without giving much in return. At 70, I've made peace with the idea that it's okay to let some relationships fade, while focusing deeply on the ones that truly matter. This isn't about holding grudges or harboring resentment. It's about choosing to invest my time and energy in the people who lift me up, who bring light to my days. There's a beauty in nurturing relationships that feel reciprocal, where care flows both ways. These are the bonds that bring true joy, the ones where a simple phone call can feel like a warm embrace. I've also learned that quality matters far more than quantity. I don't need a large circle of acquaintances. What I need is a small group of people who truly know me, who love me not despite my flaws, but because of them. These are the people who have stood by me through life's storms, who know my story and honor it. Focusing on these relationships has brought me a sense of peace I didn't know I needed. I no longer feel the pressure to attend every event or keep up with every distant connection. Instead, I find joy in the quieter, more meaningful moments, spending time with family, having heartfelt conversations with close friends, or simply being present for the people who matter most. Letting go of certain relationships can be bittersweet, but it's also liberating. It allows me to create space for the connections that truly enrich my life. At this stage, I value depth over breadth, and I've learned to give myself permission to prioritize what feels right for me. Part 3. 7. Technology offers new ways to connect. In a world that's constantly evolving, I found comfort in embracing the tools that allow me to stay connected, even if I can't always be physically present. Technology, which once seemed so intimidating, has become a lifeline in ways I never expected. At first, I resisted it. I thought that no amount of video calls or text messages could replace the warmth of a face-to-face visit. But over time, I've come to see it as a bridge, a way to stay close to the people I love, even when I can't be there in person. Video calls, for instance, have become a window into the lives of my children and grandchildren. Seeing their faces light up, watching them share their stories and accomplishments, it's a gift I cherish deeply. It's not the same as being there, of course, but it's enough to remind me that love and connection can transcend distance. There's something magical about watching my grandkids show off their latest drawing or tell me about their day, even if it's through a screen. It's these small moments that keep me feeling connected to them, even when we're miles apart. I've even learned to laugh at myself when I fumble with the technology. My grandkids find it hilarious when I accidentally hang up or mute myself, and their laughter makes the effort worthwhile. These little moments of joy are what matter most to me. They remind me that it's not about perfection, it's about trying, about showing up in the best way that I can. Text messages and social media have also become a part of my daily life. I used to think these things were impersonal, but I've realized they're just another way to say, "I'm thinking of you." A quick message from a friend, a photo shared by family, these small gestures can brighten my day in ways I never expected. It's a reminder that I'm still part of their lives, even if I'm not physically there. Technology has allowed me to maintain connections that might have otherwise faded, and for that, I'm grateful. Perhaps my favorite form of connection, though, is the handwritten letter. In a world dominated by screens, there's something timeless and deeply personal about putting pen to paper. I've started sending letters again, not out of necessity, but because they feel special. Writing a letter forces me to slow down, to reflect on my thoughts and feelings, and to share them in a way that feels genuine. When I receive letters in return, I treasure them as keepsakes, proof that the connection between us is real and enduring. Technology and tradition don't have to be at odds. They can complement each other, offering different ways to stay connected depending on the moment. I've learned to embrace both, finding joy in the convenience of a video call while still holding on to the magic of a handwritten note. These tools have allowed me to maintain relationships in ways that feel authentic and meaningful, even as my ability to visit in person has lessened. In the end, it's not about how we connect, it's about the love and care we share, and that, I've discovered, can happen in countless beautiful ways. 8. Reflecting on loss. At 70, loss has become a familiar companion. It's a quiet shadow that follows me through life. Not just the loss of loved ones, though those absences are felt most deeply, but also the loss of routines, abilities, and parts of myself that I once took for granted. Each loss is a reminder of how fragile and fleeting life is, and that realization has shaped the way I approach my days and my relationships. When I think about visiting others, I sometimes feel the weight of these losses. Stepping into a home where someone I loved once lived, or gathering with friends who remind me of those who are no longer here, can stir a sadness that lingers long after the visit is over. It's not that I don't treasure the connections I still have, I do. But there's a heaviness in knowing that some of the people I'd love to see again are no longer within reach. Their absence is a silence that no conversation can fill. Over time, I've learned to honor these losses in quiet, personal ways. I light candles for those who've passed, their flickering flames a reminder that their light still lives within me. I look through old photo albums, letting the memories wash over me, bittersweet as they are. I speak their names aloud, as if to keep their presence alive in the air around me. These small rituals help me carry their memory forward, even as I navigate the changing landscape of my relationships. Loss has also taught me to be more present with the people who are still here. Every conversation, every shared moment feels more precious, because I understand how quickly it can all change. I've become more intentional about expressing my love and gratitude, making sure that the people I care about know how much they mean to me. In a way, loss has deepened my capacity for connection, even as it has narrowed the circle of those I connect with. Visiting around may remind me of who is missing, but it also reminds me of who remains. By focusing on the relationships that bring me joy and comfort, I've found a way to navigate the grief that inevitably comes with a long life. Loss has shaped me, but it hasn't broken me. Instead, it has helped me see the beauty in the time and love I still have. And that, to me, is what makes life worth living. 9. Protecting my peace. As I've grown older, I've come to understand the value of peace, not just as a fleeting moment of quiet, but as a state of being that nurtures my mind, body, and soul. Protecting that peace has become a priority, one that I guard fiercely. In this stage of life, it's not about shutting people out or withdrawing from the world. It's about creating boundaries that allow me to live with intention and harmony. Visiting others, while often joyful, can sometimes disrupt that sense of peace. The preparations, the travel, the energy required to engage fully, all of it can feel overwhelming. Even the anticipation of a visit, wondering if I'll feel comfortable, if the day will go smoothly, can create a sense of unease that lingers in the back of my mind. I've learned to recognize when these feelings arise, and to honor them, rather than push through them out of obligation. Peace, for me, is found in the simple rhythms of my day. It's in the quiet of the morning, when the world is still waking up. It's in the sound of birds outside my window, the pages of a book turning softly in my hands, or the warmth of a blanket on a chilly evening. These moments, small and ordinary, bring me a sense of grounding that I struggle to find in the busyness of social interactions. By protecting my peace, I've also given myself the space to reflect and grow. I've discovered new passions, like painting and gardening, that fill my days with purpose and joy. I've deepened my understanding of myself, learning to listen to what I truly need rather than what others expect of me. And I've found a contentment that doesn't rely on external validation or constant activity. It comes from within. This doesn't mean I don't value connection. On the contrary, I cherish the relationships that bring me peace, rather than disrupt it. I've learned to say no to invitations that feel more like obligations, choosing instead to invest my time in the people and activities that align with my sense of calm. It's not always easy, but it's a choice that has brought me immeasurable happiness. In protecting my peace, I found a way to navigate the complexities of aging with grace. I no longer feel the need to chase after every opportunity or be present for every occasion. Instead, I focus on creating a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. And in doing so, I've discovered that true peace is not something you find. It's something you create. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and let me know how you found ways to protect your peace in your own life. Part 4. 10. Finding joy in simpler connections. As I've aged, I've come to appreciate the beauty of simplicity, especially when it comes to connecting with others. The fast-paced gatherings and elaborate social events that used to excite me now feel overwhelming and unnecessary. Instead, I've found joy in quieter, more intimate forms of connection, the kind that doesn't require anything more than being present with each other. There's a special kind of magic in the small gestures that make up my days. A neighbor waving hello as they pass by, a warm smile exchanged with the cashier at the grocery store, or the comforting ritual of calling a dear friend to check in. These interactions may seem small to an outsider, but to me, they are deeply meaningful. They remind me that connection isn't about grand displays or constant activity. It's about genuine exchanges of care and kindness. I've also discovered the beauty of solitary connections, moments where I feel close to others, even when I'm physically alone. Writing a letter to my grandchildren, imagining their delight as they read my words, fills me with quiet joy. Looking through old photo albums and reliving cherished memories reminds me of the love that has surrounded me throughout my life. Even sitting quietly with my thoughts, reflecting on the people I hold dear, feels like a form of connection. These simpler connections have taught me to savor the present. I no longer feel the need to keep up with every trend or attend every gathering to feel close to others. Instead, I focus on the depth of the moments I do share. A heartfelt conversation over the phone, where laughter flows freely and stories are exchanged, feels more fulfilling than any crowded event ever could. It's these moments that stay with me long after the conversation has ended. I've also learned that connection doesn't always have to be with other people. It can be with the world around me. Sitting in my garden, feeling the sun on my face and the earth beneath my hands reminds me that I'm part of something much larger. The gentle rhythm of nature, its cycles of growth and renewal, mirrors the connections in my own life, teaching me to appreciate each season for what it brings. Finding joy in simpler connections has allowed me to let go of the pressures and expectations that once weighed on me. I no longer feel the need to prove my worth through endless social engagements or constant activity. Instead, I've embraced a life that feels authentic to who I am now, one filled with quiet moments of love, gratitude, and presence. At 70, I've realized that connection isn't about how much you do or how many people you see. It's about the quality of the interactions, the sincerity of the exchange, and the lasting warmth it brings to your heart. These simple, meaningful moments have become the foundation of my life, and they're more than enough to make me feel fulfilled. 11. Embracing change with grace. Change is something that comes to all of us, whether we want it or not. At 70, I've had my share of changes, some welcome, some unexpected, and some that were downright difficult. But one of the greatest lessons I've learned is that change doesn't have to be feared. It can be embraced with grace, and in doing so, it can open up new possibilities for growth and joy. When I was younger, change often felt like something to resist. I liked the predictability of routine, the comfort of knowing what each day would bring. But as I've aged, I've come to understand that change is an inevitable part of life. Instead of fighting against it, I've learned to flow with it, to see it as an opportunity to adapt and evolve. It hasn't always been easy. There have been times when change has brought loss, uncertainty, and even fear. But with each change, I've also found new strength within myself. One of the changes I've embraced is the shift in how I spend my time. The activities that once filled my days, working, raising a family, staying busy from morning to night, are no longer part of my routine. At first, this change left me feeling unmoored, as if I had lost my purpose. But over time, I've come to see it as an opportunity to explore new interests, to learn, and to grow in ways I never had time for before. I've taken up painting, gardening, and writing, things that bring me joy and allow me to express myself. Change has also taught me to let go of things that no longer serve me. There was a time when I held on to relationships, habits, and even possessions that weighed me down, simply because they were familiar. But as I've grown older, I've realized that letting go is an important part of making space for new experiences. It's not always easy, but it's a choice that brings freedom. By releasing what no longer serves me, I've made room for what truly brings me happiness. Another change I've embraced is learning to ask for help. This was a difficult one for me. I've always been independent, and the idea of relying on others felt like admitting weakness. But as I've aged, I've come to understand that asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It takes courage to acknowledge when you need support, and it takes grace to accept it. I've found that asking for help has brought me closer to the people I love, creating opportunities for connection and deepening our bonds. Change has also helped me appreciate the present moment more fully. When you're young, it's easy to take things for granted: your health, your energy, your time. But as I've experienced the changes that come with aging, I've learned to cherish what I have right now. I've learned that nothing is guaranteed, and that every moment is a gift. This awareness has brought me a sense of peace, a contentment that comes from truly living in the present. 12. Prioritizing self-care. Self-care is a term that gets thrown around a lot these days, but it wasn't something I thought much about when I was younger. My focus was always on taking care of others, my family, my friends, my work. There was always something that needed my attention, and I rarely took the time to focus on myself. But as I've grown older, I've come to understand just how important self-care is. And I've made it a priority in my life. Self-care isn't just about pampering yourself or indulging in luxuries. It's about taking care of your mind, body, and spirit in a way that allows you to live your best life. For me, self-care looks like making time for the things that bring me joy. Whether it's spending an afternoon painting, taking a walk in the garden, or sitting down with a good book, it's about listening to my body, resting when I need to, and staying active in ways that feel good. I've also learned that self-care means setting boundaries. It's about knowing when to say no and not feeling guilty about it. There was a time when I felt obligated to say yes to every request, to meet every expectation that others had of me. But as I've grown older, I've learned to honor my own needs. I've learned that it's okay to say no to things that drain me, and to say yes to the things that nourish me. This hasn't always been easy. It can be difficult to let go of the fear of disappointing others. but it's been one of the most important lessons I've learned. Self-care also means nurturing my emotional well-being. This has involved letting go of negative thought patterns, forgiving myself for past mistakes, and practicing gratitude. Gratitude has become a daily practice for me, taking a moment each day to reflect on the things I'm thankful for. It's amazing how this simple act can shift your perspective, how it can bring light to even the most difficult of days. By prioritizing self-care, I've found a new sense of balance in my life. I've realized that taking care of myself isn't selfish, it's necessary. When I take care of myself, I'm better able to show up for the people I love. I'm able to be more present, more patient, and more compassionate. Self-care has allowed me to live my life with intention, to create a sense of well-being that radiates into every part of my life. 13. Creating a life that feels right for me. At 70, I've come to understand that life isn't about following a set path or meeting someone else's expectations. It's about creating a life that feels right for me. It's about making choices that align with who I am and what truly matters to me. This has meant letting go of the idea of what I should be doing and instead focusing on what brings me joy, peace, and fulfillment. For a long time, I lived my life based on what I thought was expected of me. I worked hard, raised my family, stayed busy, and did all the things I thought I was supposed to do. And while there was joy in those years, there was also a sense of striving, of constantly trying to meet an invisible standard. But as I've aged, I've learned to let go of that pressure. I've realized that my worth isn't tied to how much I do or how much I accomplish. It's tied to who I am, to the love I give and the life I create. Creating a life that feels right for me has meant making intentional choices about how I spend my time, who I spend it with, and what I focus on. It's meant letting go of the things that no longer serve me and embracing the things that bring me happiness. It's about finding beauty in the small, everyday moments and recognizing that those moments are what make life truly meaningful. If you've enjoyed this video so far, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. How have you embraced change in your life, and what brings you joy? Your feedback means a lot to us, and it helps us continue creating content that inspires and uplifts. Part 5. 14. Finding comfort in routine. One of the things I've come to appreciate deeply at this stage of life is the comfort of a steady routine. When I was younger, I thrived on variety and spontaneity. There was always excitement in the unknown, new places to see, new people to meet, new challenges to conquer. But now, I find great joy in the familiar rhythm of my days. The predictability that once felt stifling has become a source of peace and comfort. My mornings start the same way. A warm cup of coffee, a moment of quiet reflection by the window, watching the world wake up. It's a small ritual, but it sets the tone for the rest of my day. These routines aren't grand or extravagant, but they bring me a sense of stability that I've come to cherish. It's in the consistency of these moments that I find a deep contentment. They are the anchor points of my life, grounding me in the present and reminding me of the beauty of the here and now. There is something wonderful about knowing what to expect, about having a rhythm that carries me through the day. Whether it's a walk in the garden in the afternoon, tending to my flowers, or sitting down with a book as the sun sets, these routines have become the framework of my life. They give me something to look forward to, something that feels steady and reassuring. In a world that often feels uncertain, these small, predictable moments are a source of great comfort. It's not that I no longer welcome change or new experiences. I do, when they come in their own time, but I no longer feel the need to chase after them. I've realized that there is beauty in the ordinary, in the small moments that make up each day. Routines have helped me find that beauty, to appreciate the quiet, simple joys that I might have overlooked in the past. Routine has also helped me maintain a sense of independence. Knowing what my day will bring allows me to plan in a way that respects my energy and my limitations. It allows me to focus on the things that truly matter to me without feeling overwhelmed. It provides a structure that makes life feel manageable and fulfilling. And in that structure, I've found a sense of freedom. The freedom to be present, to enjoy each moment for what it is, without worrying about what's next. 15. Celebrating small victories. At 70, I've learned to celebrate the small victories. Life is no longer about the big milestones, the promotions, the accolades, the major achievements. Instead, It's about the everyday triumphs that bring a smile to my face and a sense of accomplishment to my heart. These small victories may seem insignificant to others, but to me, they are everything. Waking up without pain, managing to finish a book I've been reading, making it through a day with energy and enthusiasm. These are the things I celebrate now. I've learned that it's not about the size of the victory, it's about recognizing the effort and resilience it took to get there. Every day brings its own challenges, and every day that I face those challenges head-on is a victory worth celebrating. I used to measure my worth by how much I could achieve, by how busy I could keep myself. But now, I've come to realize that true success is found in the simple act of showing up for myself, in doing the best I can with what I have. Some days, that means going for a walk and enjoying the fresh air. Other days, it means simply getting out of bed and taking things one step at a time. Each of these moments is a victory, and each one is worth acknowledging. Celebrating small victories has also helped me stay positive. Aging comes with its own set of challenges, physical limitations, health concerns, and the reality that I can't do everything I once could. But by focusing on what I can do, by celebrating the small wins, I've found a sense of hope and resilience that carries me through even the most difficult days. It's a reminder that there is always something to be grateful for, always a reason to keep going. I've also learned that celebrating small victories isn't just about me, it's about the people around me. When I share these moments of joy with others, it creates a ripple effect. It encourages those I love to find joy in their own lives, to recognize the beauty in their own small victories. It's a way of spreading positivity, of reminding each other that we are all doing the best we can, and that is more than enough. 16. The power of reflection. Reflection has become an important part of my life as I've grown older. There is something incredibly valuable about taking the time to look back, to consider the experiences that have shaped me, the lessons I've learned, and the person I've become. Reflection isn't about dwelling on the past, it's about finding meaning in it, about understanding how each moment, each choice, has led me to where I am today. I found that reflection helps me make peace with the past. There are things I wish I had done differently, moments I wish I could go back and change, but through reflection, I've come to understand that each of those moments, even the difficult ones, played a role in shaping who I am. They've taught me resilience, compassion, patience, and strength. By looking back with a sense of acceptance, I've learned to let go of regret and instead focus on the growth that came from those experiences. Reflection has also helped me find gratitude. When I look back on my life, I see the love that has surrounded me, the people who have supported me, and the moments of joy that have filled my days. It's easy to get caught up in the challenges of the present, to focus on what's difficult or what's missing. But by reflecting on the past, I've been reminded of just how much I've been given, of the countless blessings that have come my way. Taking time to reflect has also allowed me to better understand myself. It's given me insight into what truly matters to me, what brings me joy, and what I want to focus on in the time I have left. It's helped me see the patterns in my life, the choices that have led me to happiness, and the ones that haven't. This understanding has been invaluable as I continue to navigate this journey. It has allowed me to make more intentional choices, to live in a way that feels authentic and fulfilling. 17. Honoring my limits. One of the most important lessons I've learned as I've grown older is the importance of honoring my limits. When I was younger, I pushed myself to the limit. Physically, mentally, and emotionally. There was always something to prove, always a desire to be the best, to do the most. But now at 70, I've come to understand that my worth isn't tied to how much I can do. It's tied to how well I care for myself, how well I honor the needs of my mind and body. Honoring my limits means listening to my body, recognizing when I need to rest, and giving myself permission to do so. It means letting go of the idea that I have to keep up with everyone else, that I have to be constantly busy or productive. I've learned that rest is not a weakness, it's a necessity. It's what allows me to show up as my best self, to be present for the people I love, and to live a life that feels balanced and fulfilling. It also means recognizing my emotional limits. There are conversations that take more out of me than I can give, situations that feel overwhelming, and moments when I need to step back in order to protect my peace. Honoring these limits has allowed me to maintain a sense of well-being, to avoid burnout, and to focus on the things that truly matter to me. Honoring my limits isn't about giving up. It's about making choices that are aligned with who I am now. It's about recognizing that my energy is a finite resource and using it wisely. By doing so, I've found a deeper sense of peace and contentment. I've let go of the pressure to be everything to everyone, and instead, I've embraced the freedom that comes with living life on my own terms. 18. The joy of giving back. As I've grown older, I've also found great joy in giving back. There is something incredibly fulfilling about using the wisdom, experience, and resources I've gathered over the years to make a difference in the lives of others. Giving back doesn't have to be grand or elaborate. It's often the small acts of kindness that mean the most. Whether it's volunteering my time, offering a listening ear, or sharing a piece of advice that I've learned along the way, giving back has brought a sense of purpose to my life. It's a way of staying connected, of contributing to the world in a meaningful way. And in giving, I've found that I receive so much in return, a sense of connection, fulfillment, and joy that fills my days. I've also learned that giving back isn't just about helping others. It's about creating a sense of community. It's about being part of something larger than myself, about knowing that my actions, no matter how small, can have a positive impact. This sense of community has been incredibly important to me, especially as I've grown older. It reminds me that I am not alone, that we are all in this together, and that we all have something to offer. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. And I'd love to hear from you. How do you find comfort in your routines, and what small victories do you celebrate in your own life? Leave a comment below, and let's keep the conversation going. Part 6. 19. Finding beauty in the ordinary. At this stage of life, I've found a new appreciation for the beauty in the ordinary, the small, simple moments that make up my days. When I was younger, I often looked for excitement and grandeur. I wanted big adventures, thrilling experiences, and memorable milestones. But now, I find joy in the little things: the warmth of the sun on my face, the sound of birds singing in the morning, the comfort of a familiar chair. These moments, though small, are filled with a beauty that I never fully noticed before. The ordinary moments have become my greatest treasures. The quiet of a morning spent sipping coffee, the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze, the feeling of the earth beneath my hands as I work in the garden. These are the moments that fill my heart with gratitude. They remind me that life doesn't have to be extraordinary to be meaningful. There is beauty in simply being, in experiencing the world as it is, without the need for constant excitement or stimulation. Finding beauty in the ordinary has also helped me slow down. It has taught me to savor each moment, to be fully present, and to appreciate the here and now. When I take the time to notice the small details, the way the sunlight filters through the trees, the scent of a flower in bloom, the sound of laughter, I feel a deep sense of connection to the world around me. These moments ground me, reminding me that life is not about what we achieve or acquire, but about how we experience each day. I've also learned that the ordinary moments are often the ones that bring the most joy: the laughter shared with a loved one, the comfort of a warm blanket on a chilly evening, the taste of a homemade meal. These are the moments that fill my heart. They may not be grand or spectacular, but they are real, and they are enough. At 70, I've come to understand that true happiness is found not in the pursuit of something greater, but in the appreciation of what is already here. 20. The value of letting go. Another important lesson I've learned as I've grown older is the value of letting go. Letting go of the need to control, letting go of expectations, letting go of the past. All of these have brought me a sense of freedom and peace that I didn't have before. When I was younger, I often felt the need to hold on tightly to my plans, to my ideas, to the way I thought things should be. But as I've aged, I've come to realize that life is much more enjoyable when I allow myself to let go. Letting go of control has been one of the most liberating experiences of my life. I've learned that I can't control everything. I can't control how others behave, I can't control what the future holds, and I can't always control the outcomes of my efforts. Instead of fighting against this reality, I've chosen to accept it. I've learned to trust that things will work out as they are meant to, and that I don't have to have all the answers. This acceptance has brought me a sense of peace that I never had when I was constantly trying to control every aspect of my life. Letting go of expectations has also been important. I've learned that life doesn't always go as planned, and that's okay. There was a time when I felt disappointed if things didn't turn out the way I wanted them to. But now, I've learned to let go of those expectations and to embrace whatever comes my way. By letting go of the need for things to be a certain way, I've opened myself up to new possibilities and experiences. I've learned to find joy in the unexpected, to appreciate the beauty of life's twists and turns. Letting go of the past has been perhaps the most challenging, but also the most rewarding. There are moments in my past that I wish I could change, mistakes I've made, and regrets that I've carried with me. But as I've grown older, I've come to understand that holding on to these things only weighs me down. I've learned to forgive myself, to let go of the past, and to focus on the present. This doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing not to let the past define me. It means recognizing that I am not the same person I was then, and that I have the power to create a new story for myself. 21. Finding peace in solitude. Solitude has become a cherished part of my life. When I was younger, I often sought out the company of others. I wanted to be surrounded by friends, to feel connected, to be part of something larger. But as I've aged, I've come to appreciate the value of solitude. It's not about being lonely. It's about finding peace within myself, about enjoying my own company, and about taking the time to reflect and recharge. I've found that solitude allows me to connect with myself on a deeper level. It gives me the space to think, to reflect, and to simply be. In the quiet moments, I've learned to listen to my own thoughts, to understand my own needs, and to find clarity. Solitude has become a time for self-discovery, a time to explore my own thoughts and feelings without the influence of others. It's a time to be honest with myself, to acknowledge my fears and my hopes, and to find a sense of inner peace. Solitude has also allowed me to connect with the world around me in a different way. When I'm alone, I'm more attuned to the beauty of nature, to the sounds, the sights, and the sensations that I might otherwise overlook. I found joy in walking through the garden, in watching the birds, in feeling the breeze on my face. These moments of solitude have helped me appreciate the beauty of the world in a way that I never did when I was constantly surrounded by noise and activity. But perhaps most importantly, solitude has helped me find contentment within myself. I've learned that I don't need to be constantly surrounded by others to feel fulfilled. I don't need the validation of others to feel worthy. I've learned to enjoy my own company, to find joy in the simple act of being alone. This sense of contentment has been one of the greatest gifts of aging. A deep sense of peace that comes from knowing that I am enough, just as I am. 22. The gift of perspective. One of the greatest gifts that aging has given me is perspective. When I was younger, I often got caught up in the small details, the daily stresses, the minor inconveniences, the things that, in the grand scheme of things, didn't really matter. But as I've grown older, I've gained a new perspective on what truly matters in life. I've learned to see the bigger picture, to focus on what is important, and to let go of the rest. I've learned that life is too short to worry about things that don't matter. The small annoyances, the things that used to bother me, now seem insignificant. I've learned to let go of grudges, to forgive more easily, and to focus on the positive. I've learned that the people we love, the moments of joy, the experiences that bring us happiness, these are the things that truly matter. Everything else is just noise. This perspective has allowed me to live more fully in the present. I've learned that worrying about the future or dwelling on the past only takes away from the beauty of the present moment. I've learned to appreciate each day for what it is, to find joy in the here and now, and to be grateful for the life I have. This perspective has brought me a sense of peace and contentment that I never had when I was constantly striving for something more. 23. Embracing a new way of being. As I sit and reflect on why I've stepped back from visiting around, I realize that it's not about withdrawing from the world or the people I love. It's about honoring this stage of life and the wisdom it brings. At 70, I've come to understand what truly matters: the depth of my relationships, the beauty of a slower pace, and the peace that comes from living authentically. I no longer feel the need to fill my days with constant activity or endless social obligations. Instead, I choose to focus on the moments and connections that nourish my soul, whether it's a heartfelt phone call, a handwritten letter, or the quiet comfort of my own home. These are the things that bring me joy and fulfillment. Life at this stage is about embracing simplicity, cherishing the present, and finding contentment in the small, meaningful moments. For those who wonder why I no longer go visiting around, this is my answer. I'm not distancing myself from life. I'm living it in a way that feels truest to me, and in this way of being, I found a profound peace. A life filled not with noise or busyness, but with purpose, love, and gratitude. This, I've come to realize, is more than enough. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. I'd love to hear your thoughts. How have you found peace in your own life? And what lessons have you learned as you've grown older? Leave a comment below, and let's continue this journey together. 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 Continue this journey together.